Hello, welcome to Guides to the Unknown. I'm Kristen.
I'm her little brother, William.
And this week we have a condensation themed episode.
Wow, we're hitting the bottom of the barrel. Sometimes the theme is like, demons or like, I don't know, condensation. Right. I just never saw it coming.
Yeah.
But you're right. That is the theme, evidently.
I saw it coming. I saw it like a mist or a fog coming over the hills.
You went, what is that?
Oh,
I can barely see through it.
Looks wet, but only a little bit.
Well, it's like pea soup, Ma.
Gross.
I think I got an idea for a show.
Yeah. So Will watched the movie The Fog, and I watched the movie The Mist.
Right.
And we are going to talk about them.
They could almost be called each other.
Absolutely.
What's the difference between a mist or a fog?
I was thinking that. I don't think there's a difference.
I dare say, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, I dare say the mist in the mist is a fog.
Yes. It is, and I think that the fog in the fog is a mist. Actually,
no, because I think
agree.
Mist might mean it's lightly raining.
I agree.
It's a sprinkle.
Yeah, it is kind of a sprink. Maybe. Well, the thing is, I think that mist can be like that kind of cloudy stuff, but I think mist is a little bit more disparate and see-through than fog is.
Yeah.
So I think actually both of these movies could be called The Fog. Is the thing.
What we should have watched. It should have been. I watched The Fog, you watched The Other Fog.
Yeah,
and then I
talked
watched
about the Fogs.
The Fog again, which is the remake of The Fog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we screwed up.
We blew it.
We found ourselves here.
The filmmakers blew it.
I think I would have rather done that. I really did not enjoy The Mist.
I did enjoy The Fog. However, I have an opinion that usually would drive me nuts about The Fog.
Well, now I want to know it. So why don't you just go for it?
Should I do it? We're doing The Fog first?
Yes. I was planning on going first, but now I want to know what you're talking about.
I mean, it's not going to blow your hair back.
No, I know, but I'm just
like
curious.
One sentence, and then it'll be out of my system, and you'll know.
Works for me.
So, The Fog is a 1980 John Carpenter movie. It is the first theatrical movie he made after Halloween, which starred Jamie Lee Curtis and featured, Nancy Loomis.
Right.
And John Carpenter wrote it with Deborah Hill. And then he made The Fog, which he wrote with Deborah Hill and stars Jamie Lee Curtis and has Nancy Loomis in it.
Right. I was wondering why you said that. Yeah.
The cinematography is by Dean Cundy, both of them. It's basically The Fog is as if they finished making Halloween and then went, all right, everybody, we're going to make a new movie together right now.
Stay right here.
Stay right here.
It's
Don't
all
move.
good.
It is very fun in that sense. It feels a little bit like how American Horror Story today, the idea was sort of like, we'll do a different story, an anthology series. So we're like, season 1's about this, season 2's about that, but all the same people are involved, just playing different characters and stuff. It almost feels like that.
Right.
Now, I love Halloween.
Yes. And
I have seen Halloween 1978 with people and had them say to me that was boring.
Okay.
And I usually go like, I get it, but like, it's a particular flavor. You've got to roll with it.
But that vibe,
the time,
though.
the vibe, yes, everything. Yeah. The tension. It's about the place and the characters. It's not about go, go, go.
Right.
And then I watched The Fog, and I went, it's boring. It bored me.
Yeah.
It's boring. And I'm so disappointed in myself because I have to assume there are going to be a million people out there now going like, it's not boring.
It's
you
the
have
vibe.
to get with it. It's the vibe. It's everything. It's the flavor. It's the world. It's the characters. I thought it was a little boring. And I'm in shock. I sit before you a broken man. I have become that which once irked me.
Right.
I look in the mirror now and I feel sick to my stomach.
I believe usually people say I've become that which I once despised.
Yeah.
So I think you got off easy if you've become that which once irked you.
It's a light irking to me. let's be clear about it. I'm not that upset.
It's not too bad.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, if I don't want to watch it, I just don't have to watch it.
You just don't watch it. But you did watch it twice, essentially, because you watched the remake. Was that better?
Well, 3 times, essentially, because I watched The Fog. I had to re-rent it again today to double-check a few things.
Oh, man.
So I've seen a lot of this thing.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So something that I really, really do like. There are a million and one things, by the way, that I really like about the movie. That really is probably the big one. That's the big one complaint, is that I go, it's boring. And it's boring is not an interesting critique. You know?
It's a completely valid critique, though.
Everything is valid.
Yeah, but
it's
it
boring,
also
doesn't
is.
evoke much. It's not specific. What, the whole thing's boring? What are you talking about? Anyway, an intentional whatever. So it features characters named Nick Castle
Yeah.
and Dan O'Bannon. Nick Castle, in real life, is the guy who played Michael Myers.
Right.
Dan O'Bannon is a writer who also directed Return of the Living Dead,
Oh,
one of my
okay.
favorite horror movies of all time.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just thought it was kind of fun. It also
That is fun.
Like that sort of like hangout. The crew is friends. We're making another movie, and it probably wasn't actually like that, but like
still.
we're all kind of a clique, and we're gonna reference each other just in the movie because we're making a movie, and a movie itself is fun.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
It's fun to do. So the main character is named after my friend here.
Right.
I like
Dan
that.
O'Bannon.
Dan O'Bannon.
It's a fun name to say, too.
I like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
There were extensive reshoots after the movie was first put together. Evidently, John Carpenter looked at it and went, "It's boring."
Oh.
So they spent more money and put some more scares and violence and stuff into it, so that I look at it and go, "It's boring."
Right.
Anyway, it stars Adrienne Barbeau, Jamie Lee Curtis, Tom Atkins, and it also features Janet Leigh
Yep.
from Psycho, Jamie Lee Curtis's mother. Way before Halloween H2O,
Yes.
they were in a different movie together.
Right.
And I think that's kind of neat.
Totally.
And I didn't really know that.
Yeah.
So here's the story. And again, almost everything I'm going to tell you for the rest of this is stuff that I like. My one critique is that it moves slowly.
Right.
And you can't really see it. It's very dark.
I feel bad that you had to rent
very,
it
very
twice.
dark.
I think I still physically have it because I have to say, my friend Sarah brought it over years ago, and I think I never gave it back.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
When you told me that I should watch The Fog, you might have brought that up.
I didn't think about it until just now.
A little convenient, don't you think?
I have to apologize
Oh.
to both you and Sarah.
My brother Will technically still doesn't have a job. I'll make him rent this on YouTube twice.
You might be making more in
Thanks.
unemployment than I make at my job, so
Thanks, Raj.
come on.
I've also got a few gigs.
Yeah, right. You're
doing-
definitely doing better than I
Doing
am.
a lot of writing.
So you rent the fog, I'll keep my little DVD.
Hey,
Yeah.
I still want that DVD. So here's the premise. Here's what's happening. And spoilers for The Fog, spoilers for The Mist.
Right.
We're enjoying these movies en masse. Antonio Bay is a cute little coastal town in Northern California. Some of the descendants of the 6 original founders still live in town,
Yeah.
as a matter of fact. But there's a dark secret that this town is going to learn.
The hard way, I'll bet.
You know it. Those same 6 founders are murderers. You see, 100 years ago, in 1880, they sank a ship called the Elizabeth Dame, captained by a man named Blake. Captain Blake. Seems Blake had intended to build a leper colony right alongside Antonio Bay.
That sounds nice.
Except that the founders took umbrage with this, and they schemed a way to get rid of Blake. They lit a fire on the coast, saying, "Here's where you should come dock your ship," lured him in, aided by low visibility due to some
Fog.
fog, you might say. Certainly wouldn't call it mist.
No,
Fog,
too
heavy
thick.
fog. And really where they had built the fire and lured the ship was a bunch of rocks. So the Elizabeth Dame starts coming in. The rocks start destroying the hull of the ship. It sinks, goes down, killing Captain Blake and everybody else on board. 6 deaths in all. Now, the founders then go out to the ship to loot, because also the Elizabeth Dame, Captain Blake's ship, was carrying a bunch of gold. Ooh, gold.
Love that.
And that helped kickstart the growth of Antonio Bay. And boy, here in the year
Antonio
1980,
Bay just sounds like a guy's name.
Antonio, hi, I'm
Yeah.
Antonio Bay.
Every time you've said it, which hasn't been a million times, I keep having to catch myself remember that this is a place.
I love
The
Antonio
building
Bay.
of Antonio Bay.
Thank you. I love you too.
Yeah.
I'm pretty built, huh? Right? So life is nice in Antonio Bay. Adrienne Barbeau owns a lighthouse overlooking the town and the ocean, where she broadcasts the town's radio station, which occasionally takes phone calls, like from Charles Cyphers, also from Halloween. He was the sheriff in that movie. Here is
Oh,
weatherman
yeah.
Dan O'Bannon. Charles Cyphers calls in occasionally to flirt with Adrienne Barbeau. It's got a very, like, small-town vibe.
Yes.
Everything is super charming. I love Adrienne Barbeau on the radio.
I do
This
too.
doesn't happen anymore because radio stations aren't that big a deal. I love seeing a DJ in movies.
Yeah.
I love seeing somebody that's talking into a microphone knowing full well that untold quantities of people out there are hearing her right this very second.
Yep.
I love that feeling. Tom Atkins is some weirdo driving around in a truck. He will pick up a hitchhiker, Jamie Lee Curtis, and immediately they will celebrate with one another.
Right.
This is, by the way, years before Tom Atkins would play a weirdo who picks up people and celebrates with them in Halloween 3.
Oh, okay.
So everything in the
Guy's
John Carpenter verse, yeah.
He's got one thing he's good at, you know?
Yeah, sure. Here he's
celebrating in a moving vehicle.
Exactly. Yeah, you most people would probably, yes, remember Tom Atkins as playing Dr. Chalice in Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Then there's also Kathy Williams, played by whoever I just said, who's Jamie Lee Curtis's mother.
Oh, Janet Leigh.
Janet Leigh, who's in charge of organizing a celebration for
Well, an
the
actual
town's-
celebration.
An actual, yes,
Not
an
the kind of
actual.
celebration we usually talk about.
My euphemism has gotten in the way of actual clear information.
She could be hosting a celebration. Maybe it's like a real cool, loose town.
Uh-oh, I was going to say a town-wide celebration.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Uh-oh. Hey-oh.
Get out of Antonio Bay.
Or get into
I
it.
guess, yeah.
Yeah.
They're stopping people at the border. Sorry, we're full.
We're completely packed.
We're packed. But so she's trying to, like, celebrate the town's centennial. It's been 100 years since they were founded, I suppose. So, like I said, life sure is sweet. Oh no! 3 fishermen are out on a boat, and here comes a fog. The fog, they pilot their boat into the fog. They can't see. Visibility is quite poor.
Of course.
But then clomp, clomp. Who's that? Somebody is suddenly on the ship. Somebody standing in the shadows, seeming almost disfigured and with glowing red eyes. Suddenly, the 3 members of this ship are stabbed, hooked, slaughtered.
Yeah.
3 deaths. The next morning, Adrienne Barbeau's son finds some driftwood on the beach. This plank has floated in off the water, and when he turns it over, it's got part of the name of a ship. It just says Dame. He brings it to his mother. She, for some reason, brings it to the radio station. Her broadcasting equipment malfunctions, and a scary voice crackles through the system, warning that 6 must die.
Nice.
So 3
It
died.
sounds sweet.
3 died on the ship. 6 must die. 3 more victims to go, right?
Yeah.
A lot of stuff is going haywire. Tom Atkins' windows on his truck are exploding. They just, like, all of a sudden shatter.
Could be from
Lights
the
are
force of
flickering.
celebration.
Could be. Who knows? The shockwaves.
Right.
My God.
The heat coming off the sky.
Mr. Atkins.
Yeah.
Talk about the Atkins
Shatters.
diet. Anyway. But, like, I enjoy that the supernatural stuff that's going on is not necessarily the typical, like, Adrienne Barbeau's electronics going haywire is familiar. We're used to electronics interacting with the paranormal. Just a window breaking. At one point, a grandfather clock, the glass in front of the clock face just starts cracking. Like, I don't know why.
Yeah, like,
you don't
why
see
is this
that
happening?
sort of thing. It's just like there's, like, an energy
Yeah.
reverberating. I think about grass cracking from, like, they say, like, an opera singer hitting a high note can shatter a a champagne flute.
Maybe it's like, I mean, it's still like, I was talking about mist and condensation before, but maybe it's almost like an air pressure sort of thing.
Oh, that's interesting. I like that.
You know, like, I asked my chiropractor one time, like, you know, people will, like, complain about their joints hurting when it's, you know, gonna rain or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, am I just making this up and it's psychosomatics? I know people have said that. Or, like, could it make sense that my lower back hurts more when it's gonna rain? He was like, no, that's actually a real thing. It's because before it rains, there's less pressure in the air, if I'm remembering this right. There's less pressure in the atmosphere, and actually that pressure is like holding and mushing our bodies together for a lot of the time, just imperceptibly. So when that pressure lets up, there's more room for stuff to get, like, inflamed and hurty.
That's interesting. That's very
So
interesting.
maybe that air pressure is holding that glass together, and then when it's removed, stuff's exploding.
I like that. I think that that's a pretty fun idea.
It's probably really just simply it's creepy.
It's probably
but, you know.
but I'll take it. I like that. So, Jamie Lee Curtis and Tom Atkins find the ship. Go on the ship, find all the dead bodies. One of them is like his eyes are like gouged out. Like it's very, very, very violent. Everything is shot very ambiguously. Like you think about how Halloween all takes place, obviously, primarily on one night, and everything is in shadows. It's almost hard to visually make out what Michael Myers is doing. Like I think about the one moment where he stabs Linda's boyfriend Bob. They're in the dark kitchen. And the stabbing itself is a close-up on a knife just going into a shirt. And then when it pulls back, Michael Myers is almost a silhouette. You can, like, barely tell. Everything is so dark.
Yeah.
I feel like that's doubly true throughout 90% of the fog.
So it must be extremely obscured, because if it's that dark, plus there's a whole bunch of fog.
Yeah, it's visually complicated, this movie.
Yeah.
So they take the bodies are taken to the morgue. And Jamie Lee Curtis, this is weird. One of the bodies gets up, grabs a scalpel. She doesn't notice it. It's like a zombie.
Yeah.
It gets up and starts walking toward her. And then we hear her scream for Tom Atkins, basically. He comes running into the room, only to find out that the corpse has collapsed on its own and scrawled the number 3 into the ground. Is that to signal, again, like, this numbers game of, like, 6 must die, 3 are dead, or 3 are to go?
Still got to do 3.
I know, it's just it's weird.
Once again, we let you know. 3 more. Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Heard
dead guy. Adrienne Barbeau's son is with a babysitter. She gets got. Tom Atkins, one night, I think he's just celebrated.
This guy loves it.
God, he loves it.
Woo. An animal. Yeah.
So he hears a knock at the door, and he gets up to go look. And it's obviously a bunch of fog on the other side of the door and a demon. Like you see through it, and it's like there 100%.
No other explanation.
There's nothing else that you could assume, but there's a monster on the other side of the door, and he kind of goes like, "Hello," you know. He just doesn't answer the door.
Yeah.
So he's spared.
Oh.
These ghosts will knock for you to answer.
Like vampires.
Yeah. I don't fully get it.
I'm locking myself away until they've gotten the other 3. I hate to tell you. I don't think I can really be of that much service in this situation.
Can anybody?
I don't know, but I don't want to put myself at risk.
By the end of this movie, they will be like breaking windows to get to people.
Uh-huh.
So it does ramp up.
Yeah, like a church or something, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's weird to me that for a bunch of the movie in the middle, they're knocking, and if you just don't answer the door, you're fine.
They'll just be like 3.
Yeah.
Again, you're like, I know.
Or I guess the demon will it's not a demon, it's the ghost of Captain Blake.
Yeah.
But he'll just be like, guess they weren't home.
Right.
No one came to the door.
I'll come back later, I suppose.
I'll try you again tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's like very, very weak.
Yeah.
But weatherman Charles Cyphers is on the phone with Adrienne Barbeau being like, another big darn fog rolling in. You see this, Adrienne Barbeau? Boy, it's starting to swirl around my home. By this point, Adrienne Barbeau has figured out there's something evil in the fog.
Right.
So she's going, Charles Cyphers, stay on the phone with me. Don't answer the door. Somebody's knocking on Charles Cyphers' door. He's like, what? There's someone at my door.
I have to get it.
I have to answer my door now. She's like, don't answer the door. He goes, what? Answer the door?
Yeah.
So he goes, he answers the door, and he gets killed.
Of course.
She hears it over the phone, which is something that it's tropey, something that I love.
I like
love it
yeah.
when somebody hears.
I do too.
It's like the radio thing. I like it when somebody just hears it
Totally.
over the phone. They're helpless to contribute.
Yeah.
5 victims. We're at 5. Now here comes some of the big finale here. This entire time, this Father Malone has been talking about how the town is built on lies and we're going to pay. Turns out that his grandfather, I believe, grandfather Malone,
Yeah.
was one of the conspirators. He's one of the founders.
Okay.
He's one of the people who sank Captain Blake's ship. He's the reason they're in this pickle.
Yeah.
So, Father Malone's got his grandfather's diary, which details the entirety of the sort of like sin of this town. That these men on the ship were suffering from leprosy and were just looking for a place to live. but were shunned and killed basically for being different. Like a big form of not in my backyard.
Yeah.
Is we're gonna sink your ship and kill you, so we don't have to worry about you and take your gold while we're at it. Because why not?
Right.
So Father Malone's, I almost would expect most priest stories to be like he's a bad guy, Father Malone. He's gonna be like, well, they had to. What are you going like? It'd be some statement on belief and faith and sinning, something. But no, his entire thing is like we the descendants have benefited, we are guilty, the sins of the father are going to be visited on the children, and ultimately the end of this movie is almost like a zombie film where the fog has rolled back in on the town. It's everywhere. Adrienne Barbeau is getting chased throughout her lighthouse. She gets chased up onto the roof of the lighthouse. All the other survivors end up banding together inside the church, like you mentioned, where Father Malone is like, no, they're coming for us because we killed them 100 years ago, and we took their gold. My grandfather was one of them, and in fact, and he realizes, the crucifix inside the church is made out of the very gold, he believes.
Yeah.
The ghosts are punching through the glass to get in now, sick of knocking.
Yeah.
And Father Malone does something rare in a movie like this. He takes the gold and walks away from the other survivors to give it to the pirates and sacrifice himself for the good of the town.
Right.
I will be the sixth victim. Leave everybody else alone. Take me. And you don't usually see that out of any form of a modern day priest character. Usually there's some sort of a riff on selfishness there.
Yeah, totally.
But no, he does. He brings the gold to Captain Blake. Captain Blake grabs onto it, grabs onto him. The gold starts glowing. Yada, yada, yada.
That's right.
Father Malone is saved, but the ghosts take the gold and disappear.
Yeah.
Things go back to normal. Adrienne Barbeau, all of a sudden, the killer that was chasing her disappears. She's safe. She can go back to the radio. Everybody inside the church, my God, they're all gone. No one's punching through the glass at us anymore. It's done.
Yeah.
Everything's okay. And we learned a lesson about the truth of our town.
Right.
And then basically the movie concludes with Father Malone being like, so they took the gold back, but it's weird. They said they wanted 6 victims. Why'd they stop at 5? And then Captain Blake shows up and chops his head off.
Yeah.
And the movie ends.
Right.
So, there's a lot to like
certainly
about this movie. I think a lot of the like ideas of it click. I love the idea of just ghosts coming in.
Yeah, like
the fog.
you saying this, I've seen it before, but I haven't seen it in a few years. Makes me want to watch it. Because you're hitting all of the like main points, and you're not like having silence with fog for 5 minutes.
Yeah, 'cause you don't have to watch Tom Atkins talk to Jamie Lee Curtis for a while.
Right.
It's just like, and again, like it's so weird. It's weird that I can like Halloween, and
for some reason things just hit different than other things,
But there's so many things about this movie that really work in that and feel like Halloween, to be honest, where it's like, because all the monsters are former, they're ghosts. They used to be people, but they seem to corporeally be here as if it's their physical bodies, but it's not. They're killing you with weapons, like Michael Myers with his butcher's knife.
Right.
And they're creeping around in shadows and jump scares, and like everything feels like, if you just pretend that these are a bunch of Michael Myerses, it works.
Do you think you might miss having a singular bad guy?
I wish I had some better understanding of the threat and their limitations. I think showing them knocking and you just don't answer the door, so it's fine, defangs them to a degree where I'm like, this is nothing's happening.
I can see that.
It's dragging. I'd even be fine if like they broke in but you hid, and because you hid from them they didn't see you and you got away. But that would be a tense little chase scene or a tense little hiding scene. But it's literally Tom Atkins looking at a door.
Guess I'll come back later.
And you see a monster through the window.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're not home.
It's not a problem.
Not a problem at all. So it deflates itself, I guess, is the thing.
Yeah.
But like all the events and stuff, I think are really great, which is why You'd think that a remake would really sing.
Yeah, it really hit all the good stuff, maybe cut some of the bad.
I do, before we get to that real quick, I took reviews. I took irritating reviews, deliberately.
Of course.
I took bad reviews of this movie. I've got 1-star reviews of the 1980 The Fog, and I have 5-star reviews of the 2005 remake. Very specifically, because that's annoying.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to say that I thought was kind of neat, on IMDb, in the 90s, John Carpenter mentioned in an interview that he wanted The Fog to be an anthology series.
Oh.
His proposed idea would be none of the characters of this movie come back. Instead, The Fog itself would be a catalyst for different supernatural stories elsewhere.
Okay.
Which is also what his idea for Halloween was. That
I
it's
don't
an
remember.
anthology series and Michael Myers doesn't come back. Something different happens on Halloween.
Oh, right.
In the
Yeah, I do know
sequels.
that. Yeah.
It's just, I'm with it. I'm
Yeah.
down with all this. It's just funny that
He's
they had
looking.
the same idea.
Yeah, he likes the idea of a through line.
So here are some reviews of The Fog. DVD, this movie not very good. This is from Rocco. The Fog DVD, 1979. This movie so boring. I don't like this movie at all. This movie, that's nothing. This movie too old. It was 1979.
This is an awesome review.
Long time ago, 40 years ago. I won't buy this movie anymore. I'm glad they sold my DVD, The Fog, from eBay. 1 star.
Wow.
Here is from...
What must have happened there?
I don't know. Something's going on there
Yeah,
for sure.
there's eBay, but it's on Amazon.
I know. All right, this review...
Rocco's got some stuff going on.
This review comes to us from Chunky Monkey's mom.
Hell yeah.
Horrible. Just plain horrible. People just open their doors to anyone. Or thing.
Well, I guess they don't,
They
right?
don't. They managed
Yeah.
to get by.
Yeah.
One star. And Anne had this to say. The title of this review is, the movie looked good, but it, and then in parentheses, stunk. I don't know why that's in parentheses.
It's so funny
I can't-
when people just.
I don't know why
encounter
that's
this
in parentheses.
at work kind of a lot. Like people just like punctuating things weird.
What do you mean?
It just.
What is this? Could this possibly mean? The movie looked good, but it stunk.
Yeah. I guess it's just anything. If you interact with any people on social media, which we all do, you'll see this kind of thing. It just always jumps out to me. I think it's so funny.
It's baffling.
Yeah.
I thought this movie was going to be scary. I watched it last night with my roommate, and it wasn't scary at all. Barely anything happened. Just a couple people getting murdered. If you want to watch a scary John Carpenter movie, rent Halloween and stay away from this movie. Michael Myers is much scarier than evil clouds floating around some town in California. 1
I
star.
gotta say, I like the idea of, even though it's, a 1 star and not nice, I wonder if they had a fun time writing that review. Like, the friend who she watched it with was there with her on the computer, and they're like,
Yeah, rip it apart, Anne. Yeah. But also, I took that review because I thought it was interesting that they pointed out that The Fog is about an evil cloud.
Yes,
And
that's what made me think, like, her being like, it's evil cloud, and her friend, like, cracking up next to her.
But also, right now on social media, still, there are a lot of people talking
Yes.
about the raging debate between Jordan Peele and John Carpenter.
Absolutely.
That Adam, our friend of the show, he doesn't know it,
No, but
Adam
Adam
Ellis,
Ellis, yeah.
posted saying that he thinks Jordan Peele might be one of the greatest horror filmmakers of all time.
Right.
It erupted in a debate. Jordan Peele got in it
I
as
feel
well.
like that's, like, one of the least controversial things one could say.
I know, but people really
I
took him to
know, it's
task.
so weird, though. Like, it's not... Whatever.
So we're talking about John Carpenter's Evil Cloud movie here.
Yeah.
And on Patreon on Monday,
Yep.
you're going to hear our conversation about Nope.
Yes.
Jordan Peele's Evil Cloud movie.
Right. I love an evil cloud, I think.
I know.
I love a normal cloud, so I think I love an evil cloud, too.
You love a normal cloud?
I do. Oh, I love to look at clouds.
Let's watch that instead of movies.
I love to look at trees. I love to look at clouds. Yeah, they're
Maybe
beautiful.
today I'll watch
You ever?
Tree.
No, just look.
Tomorrow I'll
Everyone-
watch Cloud.
I do.
Today, Tree.
It's tree. No, look up at clouds like that. It is wild.
I thought you said look
Just-
up clouds.
No,
Like,
no,
if you
just
don't know
look-
what I'm talking about, Google clouds.
No, just look up
Oh,
there and
that's
be
what
like,
you meant.
this is just part of our world. We just walk outside and that's just there. What in the hell? They're
Kristen
humongous.
peeking through her blinds
They're
going,
beautiful.
What's it doing up there?
They're just so beautiful and huge and like, just like let your eyes unfocus like you're looking at a magic eye. Just look at clouds for a while. Holy crap.
I'm looking at you.
I see you.
See what you're
I
doing.
see you.
All right, so in 2005, they remade this movie. Evidently, John Carpenter said that he felt like it probably would be good for a remake, that a remake might improve it, which is why he signed on.
Right.
He also later said of his involvement, I come in, say hello to everyone, go home. That's according to IMDb.
That sounds like one of those reviews.
Yes.
Like the way it's written. I come in, I say hello to everyone, I go home.
Yes, exactly.
1 star.
Just done.
Yeah.
Fergie almost played Adrienne Barbeau's character.
Oh my God.
Couldn't. Instead
Wow,
of
this
Selma
is
Blair.
clearly of a time.
Oh, it's of a time.
Yeah.
The story is largely the same. Captain Blake, his crew, they suffered from leprosy. The founders of Antonio Bay killed them. Some of the details change, some of them in wild ways. They've streamlined, which makes a decent amount of sense to me. They did a few things that I almost get, but just fall real flat here. Now there were only 4 founders of Antonio Bay. There was Malone, Castle, Williams, and Wayne. Each of our primary characters in this movie is a descendant of one of those 4 founders.
That makes sense.
Right? So
Yeah.
the sins of the father
It's more
will
direct.
be paid by the son. They are all literal descendants. Tom Welling of Smallville
Smallville, yeah.
is Nick Castle. Maggie Grace is Elizabeth Williams.
Oh, wait, from Lost and Taken.
Yes.
Lest we forget.
She is arguably the Jamie Lee Curtis role. I apologize. Selma Blair. I had some fog. A little fog in the throat. Selma Blair is Adrienne Barbeau's DJ, Stevie Wayne. And there's also the Malones. This time there are 2 of them. And also Tom Welling is friends with some guy named Spooner. Who's like a comic relief guy.
Just by the name, I knew it. Yeah.
Who's like, clearly, Spooner.
Yeah, it's like a weird, like, burnout guy or something.
Yeah. So you're remaking The Fog. Yeah, I'm into that. I can see that. I'll give you some money from that. But where's Spooner going to be in all this?
Right.
You got to have a Spooner.
You got to get a Spooner in
You got to
there.
have some irritating,
We need him.
chuckly friend guy.
Yeah.
Anyway. So now it has nothing to do with it being 100 years since the Elizabeth Dame sank. Now, Tom Welling and Spooner accidentally kick up wreckage from the bottom of the bay, and it contained artifacts from the Elizabeth Dame, which has seemingly angered the spirits.
Okay.
So they sort of awaken the ghost this time. And
Classic, honestly.
They're pissed.
Yeah.
Here's something weird. Captain Blake is sort of a sad figure, right? Like he wanted the best
Yeah.
for himself and his crew. He suffered from leprosy. He was murdered unjustly for nothing.
Right.
Turned into a ghost. Has to just wander
The planes.
the plains. At the end of this movie, he walks up to Maggie Grace, who plays Elizabeth Williams. He's the captain of the Elizabeth Dame.
Okay.
And kisses her.
Okay.
This monster kisses her, and the entire movie she sort of has like visions like stuff going on. Well, it turns out she's not only descended from the town's founders, she's the reincarnation of Captain Blake's lost love.
Oh, wow.
Elizabeth, presumably why he pilots the Elizabeth Dame.
Right.
So he kisses her, and it turns her into a ghost.
Oh. I know I came to that a second late, but
so did I. I
yeah.
watched the movie and I was like, hold on. What now?
It wasn't at all what I was expecting you to say.
Tom Welling is looking at her. She's alive. A ghost kisses her. She looks at him,
and
she's
a
blue
ghost.
and translucent.
All right.
No corpse.
No need. Direct line. Those are the rules of ghosts.
Immediately into a ghost. It's like how there's like that one weird form of precipitation where it's like sometimes a solid can become vapor. You know, it like by bypassing the liquid form. Right. It's like, what? Oh, the fog. Vapor.
Yeah.
She's the fog. She becomes the fog.
Yes, she's fog itself.
The velvet fog.
Yeah. Ooh.
He should have sang over the credits.
Absolutely. What a missed opportunity.
The velvet fog.
He was probably too busy at that fundraiser. He's still with Kramer.
And then I wrote this. The movie ends with Tom Welling throwing a book at the ocean.
What book?
Not into the ocean. I wrote he throws a book at the
He's
ocean.
at it. He's pissed.
He goes, nah.
Ah.
Throws a
Does
book
it go
at the
insanely far because he's Superman?
Yeah, it fly you. Then they cut to a shot of outer space and it's orbiting the planet. Now this has to be Malone's journal. You know.
Yeah.
He
yeah.
throws a book at the
They don't
ocean.
explain it though.
No, they do.
Oh, okay.
I just didn't.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
No,
the
that's
same
fine. That's
movie.
fine.
It's the same movie. I just explained to you what's different.
Yes. Yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis gets kissed and becomes a ghost.
Yeah. Wow.
So here are some 5-star reviews of this movie. This is from Just B, titled, "I've seen it before, but a spin that
I'll
the
see it
original
again.
doesn't have. This version is different than the original, so I like it more. Who wouldn't want to watch Smallville's Superman some more? And for the guys, Maggie Grace." 5 stars.
Gotta have a little something for them.
It's just that there are people that are nice to look at. 5
Right.
stars.
That's so funny.
Here's Christine Haddock Verges.
What would you do if you came across some weird review from Kristen Anderson?
Oh, I would love that.
I know.
That would make me so
I haven't
happy.
done it, but that'd be really funny.
Love the move. It keep you on your feet. I hate the fog in true life, but the move is great. Thank you. 5 stars. Hate the fog in real life.
But the move is great.
Move is great. Queen of the Nile said, "OMG, this movie immediately upon the final credits became one of my 5 favorite movies ever. It had everything you can ask for in a thriller. It had babes, suspense,
Okay.
action,
Okay.
babes, and of course, fog."
Babes. Really? That's really funny.
Fog. Holy smokes, if you like thrillers, you would love The Fog. I'm so glad that they remade this movie. It's no surprise that it was such a big hit at the box office. If you like action and suspense, you will love The Fog. You will sit on the edge of your seat the whole movie. I guarantee it.
This person has keyword stuffing for
5
fog.
stars. And then this last one I've got is from Bookworm. The whole thing is all caps. Anytime there's punctuation, it's multiple exclamation points. I really like this version of The Fog. It was more intense than that old Fog. A lot more interesting. I would give this movie to a friend for sure. It was totally wrong what the men from the island did to the people on the ship. That just messed up. I did not like the way it ended, though. But all in all, I love it. By the way,
Good for them for not throwing out the baby with the bathwater.
a lot of people do not believe in the sins of the father or mother, but it do exist. 5 stars. There you go.
That's awesome.
That's everything there is to say about The Fog.
It's honestly made me want to watch The Fog and The Fog remake.
It's ironic because I covered it so well, there's no need to.
No, William, you covered it so well that I'm
extensively.
now so enticed.
You know, have you ever
You
seen...
painted such a picture that now I just need the actual visuals.
You know how, like, at the end of the kill counts, like James A. Janice kill counts?
Yeah.
It goes like, this kill count does not replace the act of watching the movie.
Right.
I think my discussion on The Fog replaces anyone's need to watch. This podcast replaces...
I gotta disagree because now I want to watch The
need to watch
Fog.
The Fog. Well,
So I'm sorry, mission not accomplished for you.
I still have it for 18 more hours. So
Well, clearly I have the DVD somewhere.
That's true. I don't think
And
you
again,
have a DVD
I apologize, Sarah. I do.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Damn, I
Yes.
thought it was like, you know, what is it about, like a thirsty man in the desert or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
Whatever that phrase is. Imagine
Yeah.
I said that.
Imagine that.
How that would
Now, I mean,
apply.
you're half right. I don't have it like plugged in, but I'll trot it out like every once in a while if I have DVDs. So I have the means.
Okay, fair enough.
All
fair
right.
enough.
So before we move on to The Mist,
Yes, can't
another
wait.
form of
It's
condensation.
going to be dry here for a couple minutes.
Not for very
Not for
long,
long.
though, so you have just enough time to grab your poncho while we tell you about patreon.com/GTTUpod.
This is like a Gallagher show, this episode.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You're going to get pummeled with Mist.
Missed.
Anyway, this is how you can support the show if you enjoy it. We have a number of different tiers, so you can find whatever level of monthly donation you are comfortable with, and we have a bunch of different bonuses that we can offer you as a thank you, going up to a bonus episode every single week. So a full episode of Guides to the Unknown comes out it kind of is. A full episode of The
Netherworld
Netherworld Dispatch,
Dispatch,
which is our second podcast, comes out every single Monday, and that's available over on patreon.com/gttupod.
That's right. Most recently, this past Monday, Kristen and I played more of Fatal Frame.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe we might be getting to the end.
I think so. This was the 6th week of playing it.
7th.
Oh, it's the 7th. Okay. So, and it feels like even if the game isn't all the way over, we're kind of at a natural conclusion point.
I do feel like we're getting to a point story-wise where we might cleanly be able to jump, unless people out there need to see more,
Right.
so speak up.
Right.
But so that's out there right now. A lot of fun. The black water must not be allowed to overflow.
The black water must not be allowed to overflow.
And this coming Monday, we're going to have our discussion/review, I suppose, of Jordan Peele's Nope, which is in theaters right now. Go watch it.
Yeah.
We both, spoiler alert, we both recommend it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But boy, is there so much to say about it. So come
Big
back
time.
on Monday to check that out.
All right. I hope you're all set. Ponchos firmly on to talk about The Mist.
That's like Niagara Falls.
Yeah,
where,
dude,
like,
I
you
don't
have
know if
to,
people
like,
really wear ponchos to guard against mist.
the
all that.
Maiden of the Mist at Niagara Falls. I think that's what you wear, a poncho on a boat.
You're correct, but even you were absolutely right before. What they are referring to as the mist in The Mist is not mist whatsoever. It is only fog.
The movie The Mist that you're about to describe should definitely be called A Different Fog.
A different kind of fog.
It should be called, oh no, there's something else in a different fog.
Right, because you're right. Mist, yeah, you might wear a poncho, but I'm coming from the perspective of the mist from this movie, which is only fog, and you don't need special gear.
If there was something coming at you in a mist, you'd see it coming from a long ways away.
Yeah,
You'd
you might
go,
see a little rainbow or something.
look at that
even.
thing in the mist.
Right.
With that beautiful rainbow around it.
Right, because it's wet enough that it could create a rainbow.
A terrifying monster with a beautiful rainbow.
Yeah, the majesty of nature, William. Clouds, rainbows, trees.
Yeah.
Love to rest my eyes on all of them.
Any chance Stephen King wrote it as The Fog and somebody made him change it?
Maybe. I don't know.
Crazier things have happened.
Yeah, absolutely. It really could be. So I think I already said it or alluded to it. I did not enjoy The Mist. But I think that it seems like a lot of people did. It has a 72% on Rotten Tomatoes, which ain't bad.
I've heard it's great, and I've wanted to watch it for a long time.
I think it could be a me thing. It also has a 7.1 on IMDb. It's a very decent rating,
Yeah.
I feel.
Oh, sure.
So it was written and directed by Frank Darabont, who also did The Green Mile, which is another Stephen King story.
That's
so
right.
they like to collab. My notes start off with this before I get into describing the movie. I wrote, I do not like this movie at all. Then 2 lines down, okay, I hate The Mist. 2 lines down, it's the most somber monster movie ever.
This is right off the bat?
I think that, well, because I was just going to watch it straight without note-taking first.
It probably didn't even
And
get to the title card yet. It probably just said, like, directed by Frank Darabont. This sucks.
I order my notes afterward for
okay.
speaking on the show.
Okay.
I didn't necessarily write them in that order, but those 3 thoughts were written in order. Yeah. So here's what happens in it. So the main character is Thomas Jane, who played the Punisher at one point.
Yes.
He was also in a show about having a huge dong called Hung. Do you remember that?
Should have called it Dong.
They should have called it dong. I never watched it, but I remember it was a thing.
Yeah, it's like a knockoff Californication.
Yeah, I think
Right.
so. And I think it was even on Showtime or something.
Yeah,
but
something
I
like
think
that.
that was like the whole thing of it. Maybe he was a gigolo or something. I don't know.
He was also on Arrested Development as himself.
Oh, yeah.
And
That's
it was I remember several people said this to me, that it was puzzling because he's in character. He's playing Thomas Jane going method to study homeless people. So he looks homeless. And so Lindsay goes, "Oh, I'll give you money." And he goes, "Oh, I don't need money. I'm Thomas Jane." And she's
Right.
like, that means nothing to me. You're a homeless man.
Yeah.
It's like, nice to know your name. And many people were like, well, I didn't know who Thomas Jane was. So that doesn't play like a joke.
Right, because he's
It
not
makes
really
you go,
like...
who's Thomas Jane? I assume it's a character, a made-up name.
Yeah, he doesn't feel famous enough.
To play himself.
Yeah, I think that's true. So he is our main character, David, and he has a son named Billy. So it opens up, he's at home with his wife and son, and there's like, oh, and it's kind of a fun Easter egg. He, like, paints posters for movies.
Cool.
So he's painting a poster, and it's 100% the guy from The Stand. And then there's a poster that's definitely The Thing on his wall. But they're like, a humongous storm comes through, and like it blasts the windows out and everything. And so he goes to the store with his son to get supplies, just the grocery store, and they leave his wife at home. And you get to the store, and all of a sudden there are like tons of character actors everywhere in this store, like so many recognizable people.
You know something's gonna go wrong.
And they're all gonna be there.
Right.
I knew like nothing about this movie, by the way, going in. I suggested this to Will. It really just kind of like, I don't know where it came from, this idea to do this. I knew like nothing about The Mist, but I've always been curious about it, and I knew it was supposed to be a horror movie, and I just went in blind.
If you go to a grocery store and you start to realize that Stephen Root, J.K. Simmons, Stephen Tobolowsky.
Did you Google character actor?
Yes.
Yeah.
William Fichtner, Allison Janney, Gary Cole. If they're all in there.
It was like this.
And not interacting with each other, you'd be like, oh no, I'm in a movie.
Right.
I'm in a horror movie.
They weren't all as famous as those character actors, but it was like Toby Jones, Marcia Gay Harden. There's this guy who I've seen out and about who kind of looks like Scut Farkus from A Christmas Story.
You see him out and about?
In movies.
Around here?
Yeah. It's like a child actor.
Is that Michael Rooker? CCH Pounder? Oh no, oh
no. The chief from Brooklyn Nine-Nine is in it.
Clancy Brown? I'm gonna die. Well, technically, you're all gonna die first.
Right. Bunny from Sex and the City. It was It was Trey's mother in Sex and the City.
Is there anyone who's not a recognizable character actor?
There were, but they just got painted people, and I was like, whoa, they're from something, they're from something.
Yeah.
So
Oliver Platt? You work here? Yes, but I actually do.
Right. The character roles aren't coming in as hot and heavy as they had been. So they're like all in line and whatever, and then this guy starts running toward the store with a bloody nose. He's like, "Oh, let me in! Oh, there's something in the mist." And
what mist? You mean that fog?
Completely. It is absolutely fog. But so you can see him come in. They let him in. There's fog that is fast approaching. It's mist, whatever. Mist, fast approaching. Sure. And he's like, close the door, close the door. So they close the door. And he's like, there's something in there. It got my buddy. And they're all like, what are you talking about? You're nuts. And
I used to be two of us.
I was two. Now I won.
Now I'm me.
So he's like, we have to stay inside. Like, the mist is all screwed up or whatever. And most people are like, okay, I guess we'll hang out here until we figure out what to do. But this one lady is like, no, I ran out. I left my kids at home. Like, the older one is only 8, and they're watching the younger one. Yeah. So I got to leave. And he's like, you're going to die out there. But she's like, I got to go. And she's like, is nobody going to help me? Nobody's going to walk me? And she's like, not you, not you, not you. It's like Thomas Jane. And everybody's like, no, sorry. So she leaves. And she just disappears into the mist, and you have to assume probably she's getting eaten by something. So
do you like hear anything go wrong out there, or she just disappears?
She just disappears. The mist is like white, basically.
So my question is really this: is there a way that you could pretend like maybe she did get to her car and just went home? Are we afraid of nothing? We're afraid of the unknown
right now. We're afraid of nothing. Yeah. The only reason I even mention her is because it kind of comes back at the end.
Okay.
So, they're like battening down the hatches and stuff in the store, and the Scut Farkus guy is like, oh, I need to like open a hatch in the back, so they're going to do something. And, some of them are like, don't do that. And other people are like, yeah, just do it fast. And so he does it, and Thomas Jane goes back with him and some other people. And when he does that, a giant tentacle comes through, slithers in, and starts wreaking havoc. It's like a tentacle that can also open up, and it has like giant nails in it.
Oh.
And it kills that dude.
Whoa.
And so they're like, whoa, okay, that guy was right. There is something in the mist. This is not good.
I like that, actually. Not only is there something in the... Because you could play you could make an entire movie about we don't know if there's something in the mist.
Right.
You could easily tell that story. And I think probably a lot of movies have told that story. We never get any confirmation one way or the other.
True.
But to go so far as to be like, yes, there's something in the mist. It's enormous.
Yeah.
One of its tentacles is humongous. Who can imagine
Fully
what the
humongous.
body of it actually looks like, and it can like almost like transform itself. Tentacles usually don't open. An octopus's tentacles cannot open like a mouth, so we're up against.
Well, it doesn't really. It opens like long ways, like.
Oh, like
a
like a
book.
hot dog bun.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yep.
Okay.
And then it has like teethy claw things in it or whatever. And they're able to. It pulls Scut Farkus guy out, and they're able to close the door kind of on it. And there's an axe, for fire or
Chopping.
whatever, and they chop off part of the tentacle, so it's there. And they're like, all right, we got to regroup. Like, what are we going to tell everybody? It's serious out there, but we don't want to scare them. A lot of this movie, there's also a lot of crazy, like, monstery sort of stuff, but a lot of it is, like, dealing with the aftermath of an event, and, like, there start to become camps, and how do we distribute information? I didn't want it.
Oh.
But that is a lot of what's going on. It's pretty central.
Do you know what you like would have preferred? You just don't like that
Basically,
sort of like
yeah, I don't really usually love that anyway.
divide and survive and how
No.
and what.
Just not really into it. I don't hate it, but I'm just like, I know what this is. All
So
right.
weird because you really that sort of like bands of survivors with different approaches. You really liked Lost,
Yeah.
and like so
I guess
much of
there was
that show
cool
is that
enough
same sort of debate.
I guess there's like, if there's cool enough stuff going on around it, maybe,
Right.
then I'm into it. I don't even know if I would say it's a hard and fast rule that I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't think I particularly like it. I certainly wasn't in the mood for it with this.
The
I thought it'd
flavor
be-
just didn't justify the.
I just
Yeah.
wasn't feeling it
Okay.
for whatever. Because also I love Yellow Jackets, which is survivory, and
Really wanna watch
certainly
that, yeah.
oh, William. It's so
I heard it's great.
Good.
But
I
we
think
put on
you'll-
the show Hacks, and I watched
right,
that.
right. Also, it's on Showtime, so you won't be able to watch it on HBO
True.
Max or whatever.
Also, we're watching Better Call Saul and Only Murders in the Building.
I'm watching those things too.
There's a lot to watch.
There's a lot to watch. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I thought that it was going to be. First of all, I just didn't know anything about it. I didn't know it was going to be like mostly all in the grocery store. I guess I thought it'd be more mystery, moving around. What's in the mist?
Yeah.
We do find out right away, and I kind of wished we didn't. I guess.
Yeah.
The mystery. There's no mystery here, really.
Just missed.
Yeah, just mist.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they need to explain to people, and are they going to accept it? And people don't really accept it, because even when they're like, oh, we can show them this tentacle thing as proof. One of the people who'd already seen it pokes it and like liquefies. So they don't have the proof.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah. No, nothing is funny. It is
Oh.
the least lighthearted movie on planet Earth.
Heavy-hearted.
Nothing is fun.
Okay.
Hearts are heavy. Marcia Gay Harden is like a dead serious, like super duper religious Christian lady who's like, this was all predicted in Revelation, and is getting all whipped up about that. She's making a meal of it. I was unsurprised to hear that she didn't want to do it because it was like a horror, whatever movie, and then her agent or something was like, think of it as a real actor's piece, and like, so then it became appealing.
Okay.
She's really going for it, and she is great. But so yeah, they're now repeatedly things will start happening. Basically, they're hunkering down in the grocery store. They're gonna have to ride this out until the mist dissipates. The core group of people know that there was a tentacled monster. There are a lot of people who don't really know what's going on, but they know that something dangerous is out there, so they're gonna hunker down. And then we get just like multiple times of monstrous things happening where now everybody does know for sure that there's something going on out there. So I
right.
think the next thing that happens is like a bunch of essentially like mutant flies start to attack the front walls of the grocery store because they're attracted to the light in the grocery store.
Why'd you come here, flies? The light was on.
We love the light.
What's in the mist?
All manner of monster. All manner
It's
of
not
monster.
just one thing.
No, because it is later explained there were also there happened to be army dudes in the grocery store, and at one point, well, let me get there a little bit.
Okay,
It'll get a
okay.
little garbled.
Yeah.
So all kinds of crap is in the mist. And
There's all kinds of crap out there.
oh my god. So yeah, so like a bunch of like
Look at all that crap.
crazy flies attack. They like kill one person, and now the front windows are all blown out, so they don't really have that much protection now anyway.
Yeah, the mist is coming in.
The mist is coming in. And it's not the... Oh, also, I thought it was going to be the mist itself was a problem. I'm remembering now what I thought this was. I thought maybe something was up with the actual mist. I didn't know that it was like this obscuring creatures. I don't know if I thought it was like caustic or poisonous. It was going to make people act weird. Because I remember now...
I'm trying to get to my podiatrist appointment, but it's
too
misty.
I remember now when the first guy came in whose nose was bleeding and he ran in, they were taking a long time to close the door, and I was like, the mist, they're letting in all the mist. But the mist doesn't really matter, it's just covering
The mist
crap.
is a vapor. So in the fog itself seems to come with the ghost, presumably because they were killed in a fog.
Right. I think that just wherever these things came from, there was a lot of mist.
So do they emit mist?
No. They're just in the mist.
There just is mist.
Not that I know of, do they emit mist.
The mist and the creatures could arguably be separate problems.
I
it's
think
very, very misty.
No, let me keep going.
Okay, all right.
So eventually they're like, okay, all these windows are blown open and stuff, so we don't have that much cover anyway. We may as well go to the nearby pharmacy to get medicine for people, because people are injured from all these like crazy flies that went all over the place.
Okay.
So they go to the pharmacy, and there were some people who left the grocery store who were like, screw this or whatever early on. And a couple of them were the army guys. Okay. So they go in the pharmacy, they're getting like painkillers and all this kind of stuff, and then they realize that there are like humans who are attached to the ceiling basically with like a bunch of disgusting spider webs. In a matter of speaking, basically. And actually probably all
but like gooed to the ceiling.
Gooed, yes. Yeah. Fully gooed and like wound up. And there were actual spiders, now that I'm thinking about it, but like, crazy monster spiders.
That happens to David Cross in Men in Black.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that.
He gets gooed to the ceiling.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And one of the people who's all gooed up is not quite dead, and they say, I'm sorry about this. They're like, I'm sorry, whatever. So,
the person who is gooed says, I'm sorry?
Yes.
Oh.
And so, the people come back with their supplies to the grocery store where all the alive people are, and like they're distributing stuff, and
they should say thank you. If I could rewrite that scene. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then they would just get back to treat it like it's a normal thing, and then just get back to what they were doing.
Right. But so they go back to the grocery store, and Marcia Gay Harden's continuing to get really, really spiced up about all this religious stuff, partially because one of the flies flew right to her, was on her, and she was like this, like head to side, and she was just kind of like, take me, Lord. It's okay. Oh. It's cool, or whatever. But the fly goes away. Oh. So now she's like extra emboldened because she's a believer. So she's going to be spared from this like, hellscape.
Did you watch Midnight Mass?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So they come back. She gets wind, I believe, that one of the bodies in there said sorry, and that it was one of the army guys. And there's one army guy alive remaining in the place. And she's like, what was he sorry about? What do you guys know? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And the army guy, who is the ice truck killer from Dexter, says that they were just stationed on a base. So really, this isn't their fault. It's literally they like heard something. They were stationed on a base, and they heard a rumor that scientists on the base found that there was another dimension where I guess these monsters were and stuff. And they wanted to open a window to this dimension to see what was what, but apparently something went wrong. They opened it too far and it became a door. And so he thinks all of this stuff must just come spilling out, and that's what is going on right now. Okay. So that's where these monsters are coming from. I guess that's where the mist is coming from. Maybe their dimension is totally misty. Yeah. And so it's all poured out. And she, by this point, has gotten like half of the people in the grocery store to believe her whole religious shtick.
Yeah.
And they're all like, yeah, we follow you, whatever. And she's like, we need a sacrifice to stop all of this. We need to show him that we, are worthy and whatever. I don't know what.
People are being killed all over. They're being sacrificed.
But maybe if we're the ones to kill, this will stop.
Okay.
So we need to create a sacrifice. So she's like, you're going to be a sacrifice. And they shove the army guy outside. And he dies. He's like ripped apart by monsters or whatever. Stuff is still happening. You know, this is like days that they've been in here at this point.
Okay.
And let me just make sure I'm not missing anything.
You're making me want to watch it. You're making me want to read the story.
Yeah.
It's the same. We need to swap movies.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. I want to watch The Fog. Okay, so things still aren't getting better quite yet. The mist isn't dissipating and stuff, and she says, we need a better sacrifice. We need to really show our commitment to our God. We need the boy. So the son of the dude. And, everybody's like, the people who aren't with her are like, absolutely not. But her mob people are kind of like, maybe yes. Okay. And so Toby Jones shoots her.
Oh.
To be like, hell no.
Enough of this.
Yes. No way. And they decide, this kind of like core group of people who have been rational during this, that now like everything is wide open. There's like an angry mob who's gotten whipped up by this woman and just their own panic and fear. Who knows what they're going to do? They've become a risk at this point. So to stay with them is also dangerous. We're going to make a run for our cars, see how far we can get, see what's out there, because there's no good choice here, or perfect choice. And so let's at least get out of here. So a bunch of people make runs for their cars. A lot of people die. You're seeing like, just like kind of like monster hands left and right, like ripping people up, whatever. But kind of our main characters, which are like, 4 people, make it to Thomas Jane's car. And they're going to go to his house first to check on his wife. And then they will all together drive as far as their gas will take them and just hope that there is some sort of end demarcation line to the mist.
Yeah.
So they get to the house. His wife is in the webby thing and she's dead.
Okay.
So, it's sad. And they're just like, all right, we just got to keep it moving. So they drive until they're out of gas, but there's still just mist everywhere. Nothing's letting up. Where they end up running out, there's like a humongous creature, like huge. You can only basically see its like 4 legs on the ground, and you can hear roaring all over the place. So just like, it seems like there's just no way that they can escape this. Like, it is the end of the line. It is these 4 grown-ups and this little kid, and Toby Jones still has his gun, and so they all kind of like knowingly nod to each other, like, this is it. What are we going to do? And they count out the bullets, and there are only 4 of them. I said wrong. There are 5 adults, I guess. There are 4 bullets, but there are 4 adults and a kid. Anyway, there are 4 bullets, but there are 5 people in the car. So Thomas Jane will be the one to do it. The one relief I thought I had was that the kid was sleeping.
Yeah.
But of course the kid wakes up.
Oh, God.
He doesn't say anything, but you just see the kid kind of stir. And then from outside of the car, there are the gunshots and blood. And then just Thomas Jane screaming. Yeah. And they cut to the inside of the car. They don't show the kid, thank God, but it's just him screaming and freaking out. And it's just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So he
had to kill his own son.
Right, and all these people. And gets out of the car, and he's like, take me to the monsters. Almost immediately, a minute, 2 minutes, the mist dissipates, and there are army trucks rolling through to save everybody, with like butt tons of people on them, including the woman who had been in the grocery store who left to go get her kids. She made it and she was fine. But Thomas Jane has killed his son and everybody, and he couldn't know, but if he had waited like 1 minute, he didn't have to, and that is where it ends. This movie is not my kind of movie. First of all, it's way more an action movie than a horror movie.
Yeah.
Like an action sci-fi movie. It's not my cuppa for the most part.
Did you cry?
No, I didn't, because the weird thing about it is that I wrote, as much as I'm grumbling, it's more conceptually upsetting, like I'm okay. Maybe my brain is just protecting me.
Maybe.
But I didn't. I was just like, God's sake, God damn it.
So that end scene became sort of infamous and I've seen people post it a million different times. So I knew the ending. I didn't know anything up until the ending, but I've seen that scene. And it's weird now hearing the rest of the movie. Because just like when you were like, they've got the tentacle, they can prove to people that they've got this tentacle, and then they poke it and it turns into water or whatever, it turns into goo. Yeah. It's the same joke. It's the same exact thing of like, we can do this. Oh no, we can't. Right. We've gotta kill everybody, or we'll suffer violent deaths with the monsters. Oh wait, we'd be fine. We'd be fine. Yeah. It's like the same. It's not literally the same thing, but it's very similar. Yeah. Something about that. Yeah. These almost feel like a series of near misses and dark jokes. Right. But the movie doesn't feel jokey whatsoever. It's interesting. No, it's heavy, somber. Bleh. Didn't like it. It's like 2 hours something long. Oh, that's long, yeah. I did not enjoy myself. So the way that the original novella ended, Stephen King did approve the ending of this. This was all very sanctioned by him, but the original ending was way more hopeful. It was that the gang of survivors continued driving. So it takes place in Maine. They continue driving to New England after being able to get to David's house because of downed trees. They assume his wife is probably dead, but you don't see her or anything. Oh, I can't get past this tree. So let's just assume. Yes, there's too many trees, so we'll just keep it moving. I'd have to like climb over the tree. I know. She's probably gone. And so they stop for the night. They don't even run out of gas. They stop for the night, and they've been trying for the radio, and they hear the word Hartford over the radio, which gives them some hope that other people are out there. And that's where the novella ends. Oh. So it's like very open-ended. Like open-ended, yeah. And the last thing I'll end with is that I thought that it was interesting that this was actually not really based on a true story, but it was kind of inspired by something in Stephen King's real life, which is that he said that there was I looked out the window and it was really misty. And then I see a tenty. He said there was a huge thunderstorm like the one that opens up the movie and the book. And so the day after the storm, he went to the supermarket with his son. And while he was looking for hot dog buns, he imagined a, quote, big prehistoric flying reptile flapping around in the store. And by the time they got to the checkout line, he had the basis for the story in his head. Survivors trapped in a supermarket, surrounded by like messed up creatures. Cool. Yeah, which is awesome. Cool. Yeah. But again, hot dog buns and that tentacle opened like a hot dog. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. My God. See, so that's brain, the Mist. It all becomes part of it. Oh yeah, it all gets folded in just the way you fold a hot dog bun around a hot dog. Oh. Yep. Delicious. So that's the Mist. Yeah. I wouldn't recommend it, but people do seem to like it. So. If Mike Flanagan announced he was remaking The Mist, or I'll give it a look. I'll give it a look. Yeah, right? Yeah. Because I can see all of these things. I feel like you could make the characters in the store interesting. There was one thing, and like, it's just, just from a human who has watched a lot of movies in their lifetime, you start to like notice little like beats or implications and what they might mean. So at one point, like when they're in the grocery store and nothing crazy has happened yet, I don't think, like Thomas Jane and this pretty lady kind of like exchange a lingering look, and I was like, oh, he's been having an affair with her or something. And then it never happens in the movie, and I kind of forgot about it. And then when I was researching, it said that originally those characters were supposed to have been having an affair and are trapped in the grocery store together. But you just like, you get used to what people do when you want to show that people have had an affair, but they can't say anything at the moment. And I thought this was kind of funny. Flavors of things instead of facts necessarily. Right. Yeah. So like that. So the only reason I said that is because like there isn't a whole lot of backstory on the people in the grocery store who are all trapped together. But if like Mike Flanagan made it, I bet there would be. Yeah. And it just, I don't know. I also like, there were a lot of things in it that are just not generally my thing, but I'm sure that in the hands of like another person, I would like them. I also don't really love just an enclosed story, like everybody's in the grocery store for the whole time. I like that kind of thing. I don't. So I think even if I'd known that, I'd be less inclined to watch it. Just happened to I went in blind. Yeah. And if I had read stuff about it, I totally wouldn't have wanted to watch it, and that bore out. Sometimes that happens, and I'm like, you know what? I never would have wanted to watch this, but actually end up ruling. Yeah, of course. But in this case, like, it just was not for me. But did you watch it in color or in black and white?
in color. Is there a black and white version?
There is, yeah, evidently.
Oh, that's right. I came across that. I don't know if they actually made that.
Oh, that's just like a sort of an unofficial
Yeah.
thing? Oh, okay.
They wanted to. Maybe it is. I don't know. But yeah, they wanted to make it in black and white too. But
I
no,
heard
it was in color.
that, so like whenever the movie was made, I don't know.
2007.
So I heard that some of the special effects feel sort of like dated, but when you put it in black and white, they mesh a little bit better with the surroundings.
Yeah.
And that it just takes on a different vibe that fits it really neatly.
I could see that. I could definitely see
I think
that.
that's an interesting.
Especially with the whole like kind of like pseudo preacher angle that feels kind of old timey in a way, and I
Right.
feel like that would work really well in black and white.
Yeah.
The special effects did look dated sometimes, but not really terrible. Like the first tentacle thing, I thought looked like 2007, but it wasn't overall necessarily like that. It wasn't like crazy dated or anything.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, there you go. I
So-
think maybe we should do a movie swap. I don't really know in what form. That doesn't feel like an episode. You
No,
know,
I
but
mean,
like,
we can just do that in our lives.
yeah, and just be like, what do you think now?
Yeah.
Now that you've seen it, did everything I said
Yeah.
change anything about your perception of this? That's kind of an interesting experiment.
Yeah. We could do that and just talk about it real quick at the beginning of the next episode.
That's true. I would do that.
Yeah, we can do
Okay,
that. Sure.
Cool. All right, everybody. Well, I think that's going to do it for this week's episode of Guide to the Unknown. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for hanging out with us. Yeah, I thought this was fun. I like it when we
Yeah.
talk about movies.
Yeah, I do too.
And these were an interesting pair, the condensation files.
Yeah. A moist episode.
A very moist episode.
That's right.
So if you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to spread the word. Tell people about this show. If
Yeah.
you have an opinion about the fog or the mist that you'd like to send to us, please consider doing so. You can tweet at us or anything on social media. We're at GTTUpod.
Right. Or use us as a catalyst. If you just feel like sharing that kind of stuff on your own, you can be like, I heard them talk about this on GTTU pod.
Totally.
This is what I think about it on Twitter or Insta stories or whatever.
Yep. You can also leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, which we would greatly appreciate.
Yeah, big time.
We used to do this a lot. I haven't done this in a little bit, but here's a recent 5-star review from Nate from the States, who says, lighthearted fun. I love these guys. I love the brother-sister dynamic. Nice voices, not too commercial, but still very professional sounding. Really fun topics, not taking anything too seriously. It's like having a beer with good friends.
Nice.
So thank you so much, Nate.
Thank you, Nate. That's awesome.
And to anybody else who might leave us a review, we would greatly
Oh,
appreciate
God, yeah.
it.
Yes.
Please be sure to check out our Patreon. Patreon.com/GTTUpod is a great way to support us and what we do. One, you back us and enable us to keep doing the
Yeah.
show and you know, spend time and attention on building it. Sometimes you got to rent the fog twice. But also, depending on the level that you back over there, you can get up to an exclusive show every single week. Just like this coming Monday, where we're going to be talking about Jordan Peele's Nope.
Yep.
So make sure you come back for that. That's all on patreon.com/GTTUpod.
Yeah.
The home of Guide to the Unknown is gttupod.com. We've got links to everything. I'm doing a soft launch, we'll call it, of my own website, themythtraveler.com, where you can see all of my writing, all of my directing, producing all of my projects and everything. I've got a few exclusive things over there for people who subscribe. There's like a paid tier to subscribe, but I put up a fun editing project that I did that I could clearly never share anywhere. And a couple of nudges of things that I might work on for fun with people that might back me over there. So check that out. That's themythtraveler.com.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And you can also follow us online.
Yep, I'm at Chillin' Kristen.
I'm at The Myth Traveler. So thank you all so much for hanging out with us. We will be back next week for stuff that has nothing to do with condensation.
Well, a little
Unless
bit.
we do the swip swapperoo.
Just a touch. It might get a little damp.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We'll see you then. But until that time.